We have Heirs Holdings has acquired a significant stake indeed, in Seadrill Mobil Units, a West African affiliate of the New York listed global offshore drilling company Seadrill. Now, this is in line with the company's strategy to broaden a focus in the oil and gas industry by expanding into West African offshore services. And for more on this, I'm joining the studio, as I mentioned earlier, Sam Waze, the CIO, the Chief Investment Officer, actually, of Heirs Holdings. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining us. So let's talk about this investment. And of course, Heirs Holdings is invested in quite a few areas. Of course, you are invested in Transcore and a lot more, but we can talk a little more about that later. But why this investment in particular? A lot of people talking about the oil and gas space in Nigeria, a bit uncertain given what we have with the situation with the PIB that seems to be stuck in Parliament. So why make this investment now?
Well, I think for us in Heirs Holdings, when we were looking at our oil and gas strategy, we took a conscious decision to play in the upstream area, mainly in exploration and production. And as part of our efforts to try and build our portfolio in that area, I mean, this opportunity came along to invest in Seadrill. Seadrill is one of the leading companies that operates in the offshore deep water drilling space. I mean, they have the second largest fleet in the world. They also have the most modern fleet in the world today. And we were looking at their operations here in Nigeria and taking advantage of the local content development initiatives that the government has been pursuing. We started discussions with Seadrill about 2 years ago to see how we could expand, Nigerians' involvement in that business. Today, there are no Nigerian companies that are currently in the drilling space in the deep offshore, which is where a lot of the oil and gas activities is taking place right now. And so that was one of the reasons why we looked at this favorably. All right,
but like I mentioned earlier, given what is going on with the PIB, how optimistic are you about the growth of this business?
Yeah, I think even as we speak now, there are a number of fields that we are seeing significant activity, where there's drilling activities, programs that have been approved and have been ongoing before now. And a lot of the IOCs are even have a number of drilling programs that they've already put in place before, before that is happening now. We think that there is still, the issues with the PIB will still be sorted one way or the other because, oil and gas is a bedrock of the economy as we in Nigeria today. And so whatever challenges we have there, we are mindful of it. But we're also mindful of the resilience that Nigerians have, and we believe that those issues will eventually be resolved. But it's not stopping or reducing the level of activities that we are seeing in that space, especially in the deep offshore segments.
What about outside Nigeria? I mean, Transcore and Heirs Holdings is invested across the continent. Talk to us about what else the other opportunities you are finding outside Nigeria right now.
Well, as you know, Heirs Holdings is a long-term investment company, and we do long-term investments in certain key sectors, financial services, real estate and hospitality, agriculture, energy, and also in healthcare. Outside of Nigeria, we've expanded our agricultural investments. We had an investment in Tanzania, which many people have read about, but we've also tried to do things in agriculture that link our expertise in financial services into other areas. And we set up, in partnership with some of our partners in the US, we set up a commodities exchange in Rwanda. We are currently in discussions in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania to expand that same initiative. And we're also doing a couple of stuff here in Nigeria to also broaden that. Aside from that, we also have, again, this linkage between financial services and other sectors that we play in. We also have investments in the healthcare space. We have a health insurance business here in Nigeria, Avon, which we believe is set to change the way that market operates. But we're also doing a number of things in the real estate space, in hospitality space, and also in our energy business. Our energy business focuses not just on oil and gas, but also focuses on power as well. And there are a number of opportunities we are currently looking at in that space.
So clearly you are bullish about Africa, but what are the biggest challenges you're facing as you go across the continent? A lot of people say that one of the big things that they see in Africa is that Africa doesn't trade enough with itself. It seems like it's more of a partnership with the West, the Asia, etc. But as you go across the continent, is that a big issue for you, the fact that Africa is not as integrated as it should be.
Let me put in a bit of context. A couple of years ago, when I started, doing a couple of things around the continent. One of the things I immediately spotted that there was very little activity between, African countries. You would have ports that move goods from Mombasa to, somewhere in Europe. And those same goods, we in Nigeria would import those goods and use here. And there are challenges. I mean, there are things that really cause those challenges. One was the financial system across the continent really wasn't there. Two, and one of the big ones is the infrastructure to allow for, trade activities to occur. But I must say, in the last couple of years, especially when we saw, the aggressive push by the Nigerian banks moving to, some of these African countries.
Particularly West Africa, of course.
Yeah, and UBA, for example, is present in West Africa and moved into East Africa and some parts of Southern Africa as well. Yeah. We are beginning to see the financial system, beginning to piece together. Today you can do transactions.
That's bringing that integration
I think it's doing that. And also we are also seeing, even from an infrastructure point of view, today I can fly from Lagos to Kigali, right, in Rwanda, which you couldn't do before. You now have the airlines like, Kenya Airways, Ethiopian Airways beginning to expand their routes. You have Arik, going to other parts of West Africa. So these things are creating increased flow of activities in West Africa. In fact, that's one of the things that I think UBA saw, well ahead of time, and took advantage of in expanding across the continent. Yes, the activities can still grow more. There are still challenges on the political and economic integration side. Yeah. But I think, it's way ahead of, where it was just a few years ago.
All right. I don't know how much detail you can give us about this transaction, but can you just give us whatever you can, and then what next for Heirs Holdings? What is the next big thing we can anticipate? Yeah,
for this particular transaction, we are the Nigerian investor in Seadrill Mobil Units here in Nigeria that will be operating in the deep offshore waters. Currently, we have one vessel that is operating in the Total Usan project. We have a couple of other vessels that we are looking at. We are currently looking to expand that portfolio. I think it fits so nicely into what the government is trying to do in trying to build up the economy here locally, because this just one vessel that we have has about 65 contractors. We have in employment about 188 employees and additional 25, that are on contract basis. And that's just one vessel. Now we have our eyes into a portfolio of about, five more pipeline opportunities that we're looking at. The impact that would have on the economy in terms of job creation, expanding opportunities for local entrepreneurs is significant. Right. Another thing we're also doing with them from an initiative point of view is we are trying to expand the pool of talent, especially as it relates to technical and vocational skill in the market. We have a foundation, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, that is doing a program in that area. And we discovered that in the oil and gas space, in about 5 years' time, there will be a significant skill gap in that area. Yeah. And one of the things we are working with Seadrill is to also do a lot of that. So we're trying to get a lot of things out of this, which fits into the strategy of Heirs Holdings. Significant economic return, but also ensure that there's a lot of social impact.
I think the